What's up, everybody? This is Reverend Guns, and today we are going to be doing America's modern sporting rifle, the AR-15. So, first thing we want to do is make sure it is unloaded and safe to disassemble. So, we're going to flip this over like that, and if you press this button right here, it'll cause the magazine to come out. We don't want any solvents or cleaner on this, so we want to set this far away from our cleaning table and keep that away from our station. So, second thing we want to do is make sure that there's nothing loaded in the chamber. So, there is a handle right here. This is the charging handle. You want to grab that. And you saw this little thing pop open. We're looking down in there and making sure nothing is in that hole. So now we know it's safe to work on. So now that we know that it's empty, we'll go ahead and decock the hammer. We'll go ahead and press the trigger once, get that uncocked, and we will see these two little buttons right here. You want to push those in as far as you can. You can use your finger, or if it's a little difficult, use a screwdriver, kind of pushing through. And now we'll flip it over again, and now they're protruding out the top here. Pull them all the way out. They're not going to come out, but they will stop you, and once they are completely up, your rifle will now separate. Okay? Next step is we are going to let's eliminate some of the big parts here. Right here, you see a little pin blocking this right here, okay? You're going to want to hold back and push that little button down, and that will allow you to pull it out. So let me show you that from the side here. You're going to push down, push it back a little bit, push down, and it will allow you to take the weight and spring out. Okay, I'm going to set this aside for now. Let's grab a little dish here. This will come in handy for small parts. So again, you want to pull the charging handle out. This will expose the bolt and allow you to, the charging handle will stop. You can keep sliding the bolt out. And we'll set that aside there too. Now that the bolt's out, if you grab it and just kind of go down the little hole where the bolt was, this will slide out as well. Right. I'm going to go ahead and spray cleaner into the barrel here. We'll let that soak. There we go. Plenty in there. We're going to let that soak, and we'll set that aside for now. And we will start taking apart everything else. So, the bolt. First thing you want to do is on the side that doesn't have the divot, there's a little pin here. You'll want to use a screwdriver or something small enough to kind of grab it and pull it up. Once you pull that out, it's a little locking pin. Put that in the dish. Now that you pulled it out, that'll allow the firing pin to come out. So you just tilt it out. Should just fall right out. Now we're going to push the front of the extractor here back, and and you can see how it kind of moves in and out. We're going to push it back, and you see this little rectangle here. Okay, you need to twist that. Doesn't matter which position you do it in. I do it when it's completely out. It allows you to twist it. You might be able to see that. There we go. See? Once it's now turned 90 degrees, you can push it all the way back, and it should just come right out. Just like that. I'm going to throw that in there. That will now allow you to separate the piece that was moving out of the bolt. One last thing to take apart is the extractor itself. There is a pin right here, goes all the way through. Okay, one side looks like it's a little bigger than the other. That's the entryway. It's easier to go one way. So what you want to do is, you can use anything you want. You want to push that through enough to where you can pull it out the other side. So it's kind of, I'm going to use the firing pin here to finish pushing that through. It's smaller and allows it to push it through a little further. There we go. And we'll take that pin. Now this is going to try and pop out on you. You can see how there's like one notch missing. That's where your extractor is. So you want to hold that and pull the pin out completely. There we go. Now the extractor will come off. Just like that. All this stuff we can spray down, get a nice good cleaner on it. And like I said, I'm using the dish. One, it's easier to spray and let them kind of clean and soak in there. And two, it keeps all your small parts in a little thing, so you don't have to worry about having them fly all over the place and lose them. So I'm going to do the spring. We'll do the carrier, bolt carrier here. Alright, we'll even do the charging handle. Clean anything you want. This rifle's been fired recently and looks like it needs some attention. So we're gonna clean it up real good. Alright, so while that's soaking for a second, let me explain what I got sitting here. You saw my gun cleaner. Yeah, you know, it's all on preference on what you want to use for your gun cleaner, but this is what I've been using, and I'm pretty impressed by it, so I'm going to continue using it. I've got a soft bristle brush. It's got a little detail end on the end of it, so I can get in the small crevices easy. I've got a hard bristle brush. I don't use any of the metal or the brass because I don't want to scratch up anything. I don't want to mark or damage anything on my firearms, so I stick with the soft bristle brush. It's usually more than enough. I've got some gun oil. A little screwdriver comes in handy. Got a gun oil rag. Got some patches. Q-tips will come in handy. And instead of using a rod and brass bore brush, I have a bore snake. And this unravels, and I'll show you how this works when we get to it. But we're going to work on cleaning the parts we've got available right now. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to kind of run through over the spring here. Get the ends pretty well. And then we'll wipe it off. Right, spring is done. Let's work on the charging handle next. Just kind of getting in there, breaking apart any dirt, carbon, anything that might have built up. And we'll wipe it off. Get down the groove a little bit. Alright, let's do the carrier group here. Just get everywhere you can. You're not going to hurt it. See how the detail end of the brush is helping get in those smaller areas. Alright, now I'm going to use a Q-tip to get into the charging port here. And just kind of cycle it in, twist to get it in. It's kind of a dirty little area, so we want to clean that out real well. You can just kind of twist. So I'm going to keep going just a little bit more. Yeah, it's looking a lot better. Oh yeah. So also use Q-tips for inside. There's the little firing pin hole to really get in here. See, it's kind of black. We want all that black out of there. Nothing black is ever good. A little gray, so that's not bad. Looking better. Just going from this side. can. That doesn't look too bad. Get the little holes here. Nummies. Anywhere you can clean. Carbon builds up everywhere, so not gonna hurt it. Look at that. That was kind of nasty. Yeah, I'm pretty detailed on where all I clean. I like to make sure everything's clean and functional. I'm just twisting in these holes, try and dig in there a little bit. See a little black every now and then. That's what we're trying to get rid of. So that's not bad. Let's give this a little wipe off. We're just wiping off everything we can now. Make sure, get in the holes. Oh yeah, this is looking a lot better. Awesome. That looks real good. And that flag's starting to pop off real good on that side there. All right. As far as the lower, you can clean pretty much everything on here. It's not gonna hurt it. I usually get the hammer. This looks pretty dusty and dirty, that's why I shot some in there. And cock the hammer back, get the front of the hammer, get the mag well. I'm just gonna kind of go over the whole thing here, just so everything gets clean. And get this thing looking like new. Alright, we'll let that soak for a minute, and we will work on the barrel. Alright, so for the barrel, I use the bore snake. And it's a long piece. Looks like this. And I go in the direction a bullet travels. So from the back side here, we'll take the string and bell and drop that into the chamber, and we'll feed that through until it comes out. There it is. Comes out the front end of the muzzle here, and I'm going to pull on this so it will go all the way through the barrel and scrub it. I love this thing. This makes doing long barrels real easy. And I will do that a few times. Let's say 5 times. 5 times should be plenty, because this cleaner is real good. And there it is. That's 2. Drop it in the chamber again. Feed it through till it comes out. There it is. Start pulling. We got 3. There it is. That's 4. And 1 more. In the chamber. Feed the string through. It's kind of weighted, so it's going to fall down the barrel for you. And pull it on through. Oh yeah. So, barrel is clean. Now we can go through and if you want to kind of spray everything else down. Just to kind of give us a quick detail on any dirt, anything else that was on here. Anything else you want to clean. also do inside here. Get the chamber real good. Hey, that was kind of dirty. Right. Give this a little bit of a wipe down. Alright, I'm going to set this aside for a moment and bring the lower back. And we'll go same thing we did there. And just kind of do a quick scrub on everything. Just kind of get in where you can. This is some good stuff, so it's gonna clear off everything you've got. I like to get the mag release button. Get around the trigger. Alright, let's go ahead and wipe this off. Set that aside again. I'm going to work on some of these smaller pieces. So we got the weight here. Get that a nice little wipe off. I'm just kind of going biggest to smallest pieces here. All this stuff needs to be cleaned. So looks like I'm going to need a couple more Q-tips here for this particular piece. I want to get down in here real good, where the extractor sits. A little dirty, but not bad. Also want to get down here. Q-tip will fit in there. nice and snug. And well, that's a little dirty. Let's do one more, just to be on the safe side. As you see, it goes all the way through. So you're getting everything all the way up to where the striker plate is. Going again. I just twist as I'm going in. That's looking better. Right, that looks pretty good. Let's give that a wipe off. All right. Let's go on the firing pin here. Wipe that off. Got the little pins. Right. Now we can start putting this back together. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Don't need this anymore. All right, now we can start putting things back together. I'm gonna oil things as I do it. So I'm gonna get my gun oil here. I'm gonna spray some on my rag. Yeah, and I'm a little liberal with it, but I want you guys to see what I'm doing. So, I oil this personally just down the shaft because the spring does go around it. So I do oil that. The spring I oil too because that moves inside the stock. So I put some oil on there. Slide it in. Grab your lower, and the end of the spring that has nothing in it just slides in the hole. You push it in until you push it in, and that button's going to catch it from coming back out. So that's it for the lower. There isn't much else to do on it. Let's put the bolt carrier group back together. I personally do not lubricate the extractor itself. I mean, you could on the sides, I guess. but I don't see a real need to, because this functions on its own and we don't want it to get all dirty and corroded. So take the two pieces. The side that's got the circle on it is what goes on the inner part, and it'll line up those holes so you can put the pin back in. Now there's some tension here, so when you take your itty bitty pin here and try to push it through, you'll need to squeeze. Let's see if you can see that. So it goes in the hole. You have to kind of squeeze to get the pin to slide through, because it's kind of springy. You want to get it in just enough that it's pretty much flush on both sides. So can you see that? Okay. Now we can we can oil this a little bit on the end. I mean, it's not gonna hurt to do probably right there, because it does move a little bit. We'll stick this back inside. You'll notice the extractor side, there's a hole. We need the hole pointing upward, the extractor facing away from you, and that will slide in. And now you remember you had to twist it a little bit to get this piece in. You can lube this. This isn't gonna hurt nothing. This is a little bit of a functional part, and I stick it in long ways. There's one way, there's another. You want to go with the length of the BCG here and stick it in the hole, and it just kind of dropped in. I pull it out and then turn the that little pin 90 degrees. I can't think of the name of that thing, but so now it should be this way, and that will allow you to drop your firing pin in, which I do. I lube it. There's kind of a step here, and then it goes back to the bigger part. That's what I lube. It's the only thing I lube on it. Not gonna hurt nothing, but this will allow you to drop the firing pin. Usually you just drop it in, it's gonna drop in all the way by itself, and that will allow you to put the last pin in. This is kind of a bugger to get in there, but it's bent for a reason. So I like to have the bend kind of going upward towards the top of the group here, and I kind of pry it downward as I push it in, and you gotta kind of twist and shout and make it finally seat in there. Once it's in there, there we go. You got everything locked into place. Alright, I'm going to set that aside for a moment and bring the upper back in. Alright, here's the upper. I personally, I will do the outside portion of the charging handle, just so it's got I like my lube. Alright, so that's just on the outsides there. It's basically the only place I put it on the charging handle. So you can see that the charging handle has kind of a hook on the end here that faces the bottom of the receiver, or the upper, and when you stick it in partially, it will seat in its actual spot. You gotta find it, but so I just kind of glide along it until it seats in itself. Okay, so now it's locked into place. We can now do the bolt carrier group. And I lube the hell out of this thing. Like, you want this thing to cycle with no issues. So anywhere on the group itself, I do it because it's sliding in and out the whole receiver, and I don't want any issues with this whatsoever. So I lube it, get it good just on the outside, because that's what's scraping. Hi, kitty. Alright, so you want to hold it like this, and this slides right below the charging handle. You'll want to put this little tube in the little slot of the charging handle and push it forward into the receiver. You can push both at the same time until they both are all the way in. The only thing that's left is to attach the lower receiver, or lower part of the frame. I like to cock the hammer back myself, and these pins line up with these holes. See that there? You want to make sure they're pulled all the way up, otherwise it's going to be kind of difficult getting them in. So I usually do the front one first. Once I get it lined up, I'll push it in. Then I'll do the rear one, close it up, push it in. And the only thing left to do is a final wipe down. And there you have it. We just took apart, cleaned, lubricated, and put back together an AR-15. Thanks for watching. I also offer the online course to get your Texas license to carry a handgun. It's the 4-hour class broken down into segments and saves your progress so you can do it at your own pace. After completing the course, you will be able to print your certificate. Then, it'll help you locate an instructor close to you, no matter where you are in Texas, so you can complete the shooting portion of the course. This is all certified by the Texas Department of Public Safety. Check it out at reverendguns.com. If you have any questions or comments, please add them below. Be sure to like and subscribe for more firearms education.